Good evening. Welcome to Siddha-Vetha webinar series. Today we have an important speaker who is experiencing a sage scientist, a remarkable sage scientist in the 18th century. His name is Ramalinga Vallalar. So Thiru Kuppusamy Ramsamy is the speaker, and he is a scholar in the scientific and spiritual teachings of Vallalar. He is here to corroborate the spread of new generation science to the planet. It's a renowned scientist. He is a scholar who has a collection of more than 50,000 books on modern science and a very rare ancient science documents. He has been giving lectures on intricacies of mind, memory, human behavior, leadership, yoga science, and anxiety, to name a few. He has a Master of Arts and Philosophy degree, but earned incredible knowledge in meditation, yoga, pranayama, Siddhanta, Vedanta, and many other herbal related topics from different masters for the past 55 years. He has been traveling all over the world. He has been in different countries, including Australia. He's been here in the United States, traveled more than 8 states. He has given lectures. We attended major conferences here. He has published more than hundreds of books, audios, DVDs, journals, and traveled all over the world for 20 years to share his knowledge with the truth seekers without adding any make beliefs or conditioning. He's talking about absolute truth as it is, and as with his experience, and is living in the plane of the Vallalar of energies. So I request Thiru Kuppusamy to deliver.
பெரும் ஜோதியற் பெரும் ஜோதி தனி பெரும் கருணை அருட்பெரும் ஜோதி. May all living sentient beings live in bliss. May the divine feet of Allah be praised. My dear brothers and sisters in spirit, I thank you all for giving me this opportunity, particularly Dr. Shanmugamurthy, to share my thoughts with you on a very important subject. Dr. Shanmugamurthy is a compassionate man. All of his motives are flawless and altruistic. That is why when he asked me yesterday to deliver lecture on intuition, I immediately said okay. My brothers and sisters, now we are living in one world and one culture, which means every child born upon any part of this globe has a right to all the funds of knowledge ever acquired by all these traditions. Dr. Shanmugamurthy has an ambition to make this into a reality. So when he asked me to talk about the techniques to develop one's intuition, or in popular terms, how to think like Einstein, I immediately agreed. For it's my duty as a seeker after truth for the past 58 years. Humans are different from animals in two aspects: sex and thought. All animals have mating season except man, and humans are endowed with the capacity to think also. Both sex and thought are not under man's control, but one who controls them becomes a genius, a scientist, or sage to that degree. Because all energy is libido, as Freud rightly said. If you can control your thoughts, you are a yogi, said the Mahayogi Patanjali. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. If you could control your sex for 12 years and practice chastity or brahmacharya, all the cells in your brain will function fully. You will become a genius. For the seed becomes a man, and a man becomes Brahman or God. So brahmacharya means saving Brahman himself. So energy is everything. If you want to attain higher levels of knowledge, you need vast energy. And how do you get energy? From three things: food, air, and impressions. So take only the best of foods, energy, air, and impressions. What are they? We are going to see now. Before enumerating and explaining the techniques of intuition, I would like to give you with some theoretical background and knowledge without which you cannot understand the techniques. Because this is the science of genius or geniusology. And science means both theory and practicals, that is, technology. The universal sage Thiru said some 2000 years ago that humans are endowed with 10 degrees of knowledge. The 5 senses mean the first 5 degrees of knowledge. Animals stopped with that level. Humans are endowed with mind or thought or reflective consciousness. This is the 6th degree of knowledge. To stabilize in this level is the first duty of man, and evolutionary force saw to it in the 20th century. Zen, Gurdjieff, J. Krishnamurti, and many New Age gurus talked about self-awareness, self-remembering, self-recollection, etc. And finally, the computer and the information technology arrived. Why? To make sure that every human knows logic through computers and cell phones. When the critical mass is attained, that is, when more than 50% of the Homo sapiens, at least 4 billions of them, know how to operate cell phones, the transformation and transmutation of Homo sapiens will take place genetically. For through cell phone operations, humans know and learn correct and logical thinking. So in a decade or two, millions of Einsteins will, with very high IQ, that is, intuition quotient, will roam around this earth. Now, I am introducing to you a very ancient intellectual giant. He was the ancient grammarian of Tamil who belonged to the 10th century BC called Tolgapir. According to him, evolution started and went on by organs. Evolution by organs was promulgated by him. The first degree of knowledge was touch. And amoeba to plants, they developed this sense into an organ. The second was taste, developed by mollusks, snail, and conch. The third was smell, developed by ants and silverfish like that. And the fourth sense was sight. It was developed by beetles and other animals. Mind, hearing, developed by all animals. And the sixth sense is mind, thought. And we are here on the bridge to be crossed over, as Nietzsche rightly put it. We must learn to think correctly, then only we are qualified to call ourselves humans. It can be done in a popular way. See, I'll cite you two popular books. One by Robert Thowles. It is called Crooked and Correct Thinking. Crooked and Correct Thinking. There are some 30 different faulty ways of crooked thinking are described. Another book is by Graham Wallace, The Laws of Thought. These are all very old books. Anyone can get them. They will teach you how to think properly. And Francis Bacon, in his new Organon, called them idols of the mind. What are the incorrect ways or prejudices of the mind from which we should get free? He lists out three or four types of idols of the mind. And after that came Descartes with his meditations, and he says doubt is the way to wisdom. Question everything. This is his method. So we have a long tradition of these great thinkers like Aristotle and Plato and other philosophical thinkers. By reading these classical philosophical texts, one can learn how to think properly. Unless one learns to think properly, life will be a mess. And J. Krishnamurti said, the New Age philosopher, thought is not only a boon, but also a curse. Of course, it has produced all the pinnacles of scientific achievement, all the masterpieces of arts and sciences, everything. And we are glad for that. But at the same time, it has produced the atomic bombs, hydrogen bombs, which could annihilate all living beings upon earth. So it is at once a boon and a curse. And he called thought man's number one enemy. He wanted us to go beyond thought. That is, he wants us to reach the levels of intuition, the 7th degree of knowledge, and the 8th degree of knowledge called insight. He has written, in fact, 2 books about them, The Network of Thought and an Exploration into Insight. Please refer to them also. Now, we are going to the 7th level of knowledge called intuition. This is applied by most of the scientists and artists. It is about creative imagination, discovery, and invention. Ramanujan and Shakuntala Devi were child prodigies, you know. Unlike Ramanujan, the mathematician, Shakuntala Devi was also a child prodigy in mathematics. Give her a number of 20 digits and ask her to multiply it with another number of 38 digits. Immediately she will come out with the right answer, even before you calculate it with your calculator. She has demonstrated her prowess any number of times without mistake. How did she do it? By the capacity and faculty of intuition. And she was born with this intuitive faculty highly developed. All child prodigies are born so. Unlike Ramanujan and Shakuntala Devi, Einstein was not a child prodigy according to his biographers. But then how did he develop this power of intuition? He says he saw intuition which told him the total vision, the whole theory of relativity and all of its parts in a single minute. And it took him, he says, 6 years to explain logically, mathematically, and verbally to convince other scientists and the world. What does it mean? It means intuition can be cultivated and developed. And how did Einstein and other geniuses do it in their lives? Could we do it? That is the point of this lecture. Every one of you can do it. Every human can become a genius like Einstein by following the system of geniusology. We have to. We are living in a crucial time for Homo sapiens as a species. We have to learn to outwit and conquer the challenge before us now, the enslavement of Homo sapiens by robots. We should be masters with the 7th and 8th and the 9th and the 10th degrees of knowledge, but not slaves with the 6th degree. With their machine learning and electronic speed, the robots can outwit us and eventually enslave us. Preparation is the better defense. Machines can never learn self-consciousness or higher levels of consciousness of love and compassion. I have intuited about 33 techniques or ways of developing one's intuitions. One among them is thought. Today we started with the thinking. We'll develop it today. Later on, we'll move on and name and explain other techniques one by one, like love, sex, and others. Right thinking is the first step to develop intuition, and right thinking is called logic. Master logic thoroughly. When you feel its inadequacy, your intuition will take over. Drench your mind with all the relevant materials concerning a problem, and then take rest. Give your mind time for incubation. Suddenly, when you are engaged in some other things, your unconscious will tell you what is the right solution. It will give you an aha experience. Perhaps like Archimedes, you will run naked on the street, crying out loud, Eureka, Eureka. If you find the textbook of logic a tough nut to crack, I can suggest some popular books on correct thinking, like Straight and Crooked Thinking by Thouless. He suggests a list of about 30 ways in which people cheat us and deceive us. And more importantly, how our own prejudices of mind deceive us. Read the book as many times as possible. And this is for the homework. See in your everyday life how newspapers, political leaders, and others
Every Wednesday
deceive
9
us.
to 9:30 ఒక ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఉంటుంది అది.
Number 2. And then watch your own thoughts. See how they, like robots, deceive you and gain victory over you. We already have robots inside us in our minds. The robots outside were produced by the evolutionary force only to make you see its originals inside you. In fact, all the machines and gadgets only reflect our own inner capacities and limitations. As for logic, there are many types. Aristotle discovered the canon or logic with the law of contradiction. Either something is true or not, white or black. It is based on syllogisms or deduction or thinking. Bacon said Aristotle was wrong. Only by observations one can arrive at truth. Hegel's logic was called dialectic. He found in nature the same thing having both light and darkness like colors. In the 20th century, Bertrand Russell discovered mathematical and symbolic logic. He negated both the systems of Bacon and Hegel. By merely enumerating observations or experiments, one cannot arrive at truth or laws. One must suppose hypotheses and then match the observations to them and see whether the hypotheses are true according to the observations. Russell was my first master, but he could be wrong. By today's big data and machine learning, big data, as Bacon predicted, and foresaw, will form some patterns automatically, and those patterns will be themselves hypotheses. Russell could be wrong in his argument against Hegel's dialectics as contrasted with the law of contradiction. So far, only binary, either 0 or 1, operated well in computers. Now, with the introduction of quantum computers, both 0 and 1 could be right, the scientists claim. And the effect will be enormous. Calculations could be 1 billion times faster. So, there are many forms of logic, and all of them operate in the vast domain of our minds. We have to learn them all if we want to survive. Otherwise, we as Homo sapiens, as a species, will be doomed. It will be the 6th extinction. You see, I have arrived at a new intuition that my first master, Russell, who was instrumental in creating computer logic, could be wrong. Now, this intuition or hypothesis has to be verified by experts in information technology and logic. Well, my dear sirs, this lecture addresses and tries to solve three major problems faced by humanity now. Every one of us has to solve more and more number of problems, and the problems are becoming more intense day by day. The concern of the philosopher as to the next turn in human evolution. Where do we go from here? The looming challenge of artificial intelligence and the enslavement of humans by robots. Here, I have a guidance from Einstein himself. He said, you cannot solve a problem being at its own level. Move to a higher plane and look down upon it. You will have a new perspective. Then only you'll be able to solve it. I don't remember the exact words, but the meaning of it was this. Homo sapiens as a species have to ascend a higher rung in the ladder of consciousness, the seventh degree of consciousness called intuition. The Russian philosopher P.D. Uspensky gave us a formula. It says, emotion is 30,000 times faster than thought, and intuition is 30,000 times faster than emotion. It makes intuition 90 million times faster than thought. Thought means counting, ennudal in Tamil. That is how a computer is able to count faster with its electronic speed. But intuition is a domain beyond counting and computing. There is another difference between computer and human intuition. Intuition can enter into the unknown regions, whereas computers or their thought cannot travel beyond human data. Deep Blue, the supercomputer, was able to defeat the Russian world champion, but not Viswanathan Anand for this reason. That was the reason J. Krishnamurti, the philosopher, called thought man's number one enemy. He wanted humans to explore beyond thought into insight. I said humans are different from animals in two aspects, sex and thought. All animals have mating season, but men have none. And humans are endowed with the capacity to think. Both sex and thought are not under man's control. If you can control it, you become a yogi or a scientist, I said. Now, the universal sage Thiru said some 2000 years ago that humans are endowed with 10 degrees of knowledge. The five senses mean the first 5 degrees of knowledge. Animals stopped with that, and man has got the sixth sense. We saw all that. Now we are going to enter into the process of awakening intuition. First, drench your mind with all sorts of information about the problem from all angles and perspectives. Think to exhaustion like Russell. And Russell was writing his monumental epic, Principia Mathematica. He was afraid that he could go insane. At that time, he stopped thinking about the problem and went on a vacation. And when he was enjoying his vacation, all of a sudden, his unconscious told him the right answer to the problem. So this period of incubation is needed for the unconscious to come out with the right answer, because the unconscious or the superconscious is infallible. So incubation and relaxation are the intermediate stages. And the next thing is that watch your dreams. Structure of DNA was discovered by its inventor in a dream. He saw two snakes entwining themselves, and he suddenly woke up and he discovered the structure of DNA. So this is the process of awakening intuition, but it needs a lot of energy. Intuition is like a lightning which has tremendous amount of energy, that is millions and millions of voltage of current. With one intuition, one could spend the amount of energy saved by eating and doing pranayama and having good impressions for about an year. That is why the danger is felt by humans, and very rarely we come out with intuitions. Even with Einstein, we could say that he came out only with a few intuitions, like his relativity theory, his his theory for which he got his Nobel Prize, electromagnetic field. And Darwin came out with only one insight, the discovery of the law of evolution. So this is the danger with intuition. So we have to accumulate energy. For that, we have to take high octane energy foods. And Swami Vallalar comes out with a long list of pure and high voltage energy foods. And he recommends 5 longevity herbs. First, he says Sanjeevi Mooligai means longevity herbals. You are seeing it. The first thing is Karisalai. It is called Eclipta alba. In Sanskrit, it is called Bringaraja. Take half a teaspoon in the morning. It gives your body great immunization, protects from hereditary diseases such as diabetes. It controls hunger and sleep, and it improves your eyesight. But on the whole, if you keep on taking it regularly, your energy level will be boosted and your immune system will be strengthened. The next is Tuduvalai. Solanum trilobatum is the technical term or botanical term for this herb. It is known as purple pea fruited eggplant. Its benefits are it can cure asthma, common cold, cough, and other diseases of the respiratory system. It gives you concentration, which is needed much by students and scientists. And the capacity of intuition can be kindled and initiated by this Tuduvalai herb. And it helps meditation. I have seen people who are even after 30 years of practicing meditation, they are not able to concentrate on meditation. They are not enter into the domain where thought stops. That is meditation. What is meditation? No thought region. And this herb will help you to enter into meditation immediately. The next herb recommended by Ramalingam is Musumusukai, Muda scabrata. English name, pointed gourd. Benefits: it helps in rheumatoid arthritis and it's an antioxidant. In Sanskrit, it is called Bijagarpa, Karkasa, Karka, Sachada, Kulaka, Meki. In Tamil, it is called Kombu Pudalai. The next herb is called Vallare. It's a very important one for memory development and concentration. It is called Centella asiatica. Its benefits are it activates the pineal gland, the most important thing. Perhaps Rene Descartes, the great philosopher, was right when he said that the body and the mind is connected in the pineal gland. Not only that, according to the Siddha tradition, inside the pineal gland, there is a vacuum, an empty space, and in that space is our life principle. That is the real kingdom of God. How to enter into it is the 9th degree of knowledge practiced by Siddhas. They know how to manipulate even the laws of nature. And the 10th degree of knowledge is called cosmic knowledge, and it is known by one who sees the light inside the vacuum of the pineal gland. And that light is called Arutperum Jodi by Vadalar. That light is our Atman, and inside that light is the dancing Nataraja. So, this pineal gland is the most important organ in the body. Unfortunately, science has not touched that part. They don't know how it operates. But our job is to activate it by one means or another. There are any number of meditations and practices of Vasi Yoga to activate this pineal gland. If you can, this Vallarai can activate the pineal gland and give you extra normal powers. Stimulates brain, it improves your memory power, prevents and cures brain diseases. And there is one danger. For the married couples, this reduces sexual drive. So it needs to be taken with milk. And along with this, and there is one more herb called Puliare. Next slide. Next, Puliare. Oxalis carniculata. English name, creeping wood sorrel. It replaces tamarind because it also has the same taste. Can be taken raw at any time. It is called Kaya Siddhi. Kaya Siddhi means it can make your body an immortal body. It boosts your immune system. And one more benefit of it is that people say whoever takes this are cured of heart blocks. So this Puliare is given a lot of emphasis by Swami Vadalar. Apart from these 5 immortal herbs, Swami Vadalar gives us another list of high energy foods like coconut. The best thing is of the red kind. Take 1 tender coconut a day. It will give you all sorts of energy, minerals, vitamins, and fat. And he wants us to take fat-free coconut milk and dewdrops, only rainwater, and then spring water. I saw all these things in the departmental stores in America. They are not available here in India. Perhaps Vadalar is operating more in the Western countries than in India. And he gives us 5 more foods. He calls them undecaying foods. When you take a decaying food, what happens? It enters into your body and corrupts your body. They themselves become corrupt, and they corrupt our bodies instead. So when you take the undecaying foods, your body will not be corrupted, he says. And what are they? Sugar candy, honey, palmyra, sugar, palm candy, and calcined metals like copper and iron. And one should be very careful with these last 2 things because they could damage your liver and kidneys if they are made edible. If they are not properly prepared by the manufacturer, they could damage your liver and kidney. So be very careful. There are some tests to see whether they are made edible. We can come to that later. So food is given enormous importance by Swami. Now we have talked about food and thought and how these two can lead to higher energy, which can give us the faculty of intuition and development. The third thing is sex. Of course, everyone knows about sex, but the real truth of the sex is not properly learned by most of the humans. As far as sex is concerned, Swami Vadalar tells us the truth about sex. First, let us know about Vadalar. Vadalar was born in 1823, and he got his physical body transformed into a light body in 1874. He was one of the greatest philosophers, one of the greatest yogis, one of the greatest saints, and one of the greatest scientists of all times, one of the greatest psychologists also of all times. He was a world-class divine poet who wrote some 7,000 verses, and he was a great musician and musicologist. He was a great architect. One of the wonders of the world is the temple called Jnanasabai, built at Vadalur near Pondicherry by the saint. He was a very versatile scholar, a divine being whose knowledge and compassion was comparable to God Himself. As a seeker after truth, I started my journey at the age of 11. Now I am 69. For the past 58 years, I have traveled all over the world seeking for the true knowledge. First, I became a disciple of J. Krishnamurti, and then U.G. Krishnamurti, and then Gurji Uspensky, and then Kabbalah, and then Sufism, Zen, and all sorts of esoteric traditions. At last, I found the truth in Vadalar's teaching of Sudarshan Marga, called Pure Marga. He emphasizes vegetarianism and particularly veganism. And he has given us a new methodology of food called beyond veganism. How to go beyond veganism? Vadalar only tells us. And I have talked about all these things in my lecture on yoga of food. Now, concerning sex, Swami Vadalar gives us two ways, one for the married couple and another for sannyasins. As far as sannyasins is concerned, they have to keep up their brahmacharya or chastity. They have to save their semens, because brahmacharya means, Brahma means God, Ascharya means to save, to conserve. Only the seed becomes the man, and the man becomes Brahman or God. So the seed is God. So when you save the semen, you become God. There is a possibility. Now we are at the seed level. Of course, the Vedas declare Aham Brahmasmi, which means I am God. Every human being is born with the potential to become God. Of course, we are now like seeds. These seeds have to grow and develop into big banyan trees. Then one achieves the Brahman state. That's all truth. But Vadalar Swami gives us the exact way how to do it. That is called Sudarshan Marga way. Now, the second one meant for the family members is that one should have sex only once in 16 days. Otherwise, you'll be wasting your most important energy. And he suggests something which Paryanga Yoga suggested, explained by Saint Tirumula. You should please make a point to read Tirumular's Tirumandram. It is an encyclopedic work of 12 yogas containing some 3,000 verses on yoga. It is published cheaply by Sri Ramakrishna Mission just for $2 or $3. They are available. In India, it costs you only 150 rupees. All the 3,000 verses are translated by Dr. Natarajan beautifully, and you must possess it. And one among the 12 yogas is called Paryanga Yoga. Paryanga means bed. It is yoga of bed or yoga of sex. And there Saint Tirumula tells you how to transform your very act of sex into an act of divinity, how to transform your physical body into a spiritual body by performing The act of sex, though it sounds strange, it was practiced by great Siddhas like Bohar and Tirumular. Swami Vadalar, though he doesn't recommend sex for the sadhaks, he has given us the secret of this Pariyanga Yoga. I didn't find it in any other book. And Swami says, well, it's a very, very advanced stage in Vasa Yoga or the advanced pranayama. Swami says there are 3 stages in your pranayama: Reshaga, Puraga, Kumbhaga. Breathing in, holding out inside, holding out the air inside, and then breathing out. Here, Swami says, don't hold it inside. No Kumbhaga and no in breathing, no out breathing, but the breathing should go on from the Mooladhara to Sahasrara. It should run inside the body only. It should run inside the body only. It is called inner breathing or Vegakal. This is a very advanced teaching about pranayama. Mostly the gurus, even the gurus, they don't teach you this ultimate step. So if you can practice such an advanced degree of pranayama, you can hold your semen even for 2 hours. Panchakadigai Pariyanga Yogam. Swami Tirumular says one should practice the act of sex for nearly 2 hours. Though Osho, in his famous book called From Sex to Superconsciousness, says it should be practiced for 3 hours according to Tantra. It could be you stimulate the sexual energy, that is the real Kundalini energy, libido, but you don't waste it. You send it up to the Agnya Chakra and keep it there. You can collect it there for 12 long years. Then it will shape itself into a crystal. After that, one has a possibility for longevity and immortality. So, there are more than 24 techniques to develop our energy to a higher level with which we can develop our faculty of intuition. Today we have covered 3. One is thought, another is sex, another is food. The next techniques in developing our intuition we can see later. I think it's time for us to close. So with that, I would like to close this talk. Arperum Jodi, Taniperum Karunai, Arperum Jodi.
Thank you.
May all sentient beings live in peace and happiness. May the divine feet of Swami Vadalar be praised. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, very wonderful talk. You have any questions? We can take a couple of questions. It's a vast topic, and we plan to have a course particularly on the Siddha culinary medicine. Dr. Shelva Shanmugam and Dr. Kuppusamy, both will be taking, because one of the chapters, a few chapters are very important about what food is. Really, we are talking about food as commonly known food, but what food really means. That kind of thing is the missing component in any literature so far. So Vadalar has given this amazing literature on what real food is, and so we're going to include that in the chapters of our courses. So right now I wanted to ask only about what he has covered, and then and further we can go into the other areas which he never covered. No. Okay. Any questions? Let me see. Namaste, Shanu. Is it possible to have the recorded link of this session? Yes. We do all post. You can all get the recorded link of by subscribing to our channel. It's free channel. You can go to Siddha-Vetha we are going to send the link, and you can get this, in YouTube. So you all subscribe to our channel, and we will post everything there. So every week we are recording this. Yes. Any questions? I'm surprised there's no questions, because this is a vast topic and it's a very important topic. I think you should at least ask a few questions.
So are there foods that are recommended for certain age group, doctor?
Oh yeah, he was asking, Kishore was asking, there is any particular food for a particular age group?
Well, the tender coconut should be taken only by non-diabetics, because it can boost your sugar level. And if one diabetic takes 2 tender coconuts at the same time, well, he could be seriously ill. That is one thing. And the calcium metals can be taken only after adolescence, not before that, because they are difficult to digest, and they should be, as I told you earlier, they should be tested whether they are edible or not, whether they contain any metal in them. So there are age groups. For instance, milk, according to Valala, should be avoided by the sadhaks. All milk products should be avoided, because it is against the reasoning capacity of the compassionate theory. It goes against compassion. But if there are any patients who lack energy, and the children, they are advised to take milk to some extent, and milk products also.
Okay, the next question is, any idea how to they get these herbs? Is there any good places here, authentic places for herbs? That's one of the questions.
Bringaraja is available in the United States, and the name of the company was given here.
Yeah. Given some companies, we usually don't recommend companies. That's why we started to, stop. But you would like to identify your own, because it's like advertising. But we,
True.
you can find. There are so many companies now. It's available. But I would suggest you to get an authentic source from India. And there are a number of people now, they know this knowledge is available widely here also. People know where they get it from. So talk to your friends and try to get the right source. I wouldn't recommend, something like just because it's online, just believe in that, but do research. But I think, yeah, there is a question. What are your thoughts on integrative integrative medicine? Is it possible? Did Vallala refer anything about integrative, in his poems? So the attack.
Yes, see,
Yeah.
he was well versed in Ayurveda, Siddha, and folk medicine. And in his time, allopathy had arrived here in India. He was well versed in all the systems, and he came out with his own system of medicine. See, it's a very advanced stage of medicine, and I don't know whether modern man will be ready to accept that. And he says in one place, of the 5 tastes, only sweet is the taste of Suddha Sanmarga. One should live only on sweets. and all the other 5 tastes corrupt the body and make it age and enter into old age, and all sorts of troubles are born only with the other 5 tastes. That is one theory. It has to be verified. And there is another statement, a very extraordinary statement, and he says, if you believe totally in the Sudarshan Marga system, your entire belief system will be changed and you can survive only on boiled water. Sudarshan Margatil Deha Virutti Seivadu Vennire. Just by drinking boiled water, one can survive, he says. And we find a lot of people here practicing this unique system of Valala, and he has given us 485 herbs with which all diseases can be cured. So it's a completely separate system. He goes beyond this Vada, Pitta, Kapha. I have talked about these things in the Global Ayurvedic conference, and it is that text is available. Text of the speech is available on the YouTube. If we can refer to that, we can have it.
Oh.
I have one question. So about the karasale, when you take it in the morning, do you put it in water, or can you eat it raw?
You can take it in any form. Swami Valalar says, it was God given. Says, by any means, get it inside your body. That's what Swami says, because it is the most important single herb in the entire world, he says. According to Swami, well, it gives life itself. So in any form, you can cook it, you can take it raw, you can make it into powder, you can take it by any means. There's no problem.
Okay, thank you.
But try to take it at least one teaspoonful of karisale every day. That is what Swami says. Dine dine utkolga. Every day, make it a point to take it first thing in the morning after brushing your teeth.
Right. So best thing is to make a tea, karsali tea in the morning, and that's the tea. Not mixing with milk or anything, plain tea. I think that's what you do in the morning.
Yes.
Can you add 2 of them? Like, is it okay to add karasale and thoothuvale at the same time, or you should do it separately in the tea?
Swami himself has given us a formula. Karisale, Thuduvalai, and Musumusukai. Each 100 grams, and what do you call it? This siragam. I don't remember the English term for that. Siragam.
Cumin.
Cumin seeds. So you mix all these things and make a tea out of them, and then drink it first thing in the morning. That's the prescription given by Valalar.
Question: is the herbs can be only taken by vegetarians?
Anyone can take it, but if a vegetarian takes it, it will be all the more benefit.
Okay.
The first thing I condemns is taking non-vegetarian food. Now scientists have come out with the truth that most of the cancers are caused by this non-vegetarian food. I don't know what's going on there. Here, the very first condition for being human, according to Valalar, is that one should never take non-vegetarian food. I am duty bound to tell you as a Sanmargi that why take foods that harm us? God has given us plenty of foods that could heal us, that could give us energy. So think about it twice. I don't impose my ideas upon anyone. I'm telling you only Swami Valalar says. because his path itself is known as pure path. And he wants us to be pure in body, in mind, in soul, in our life. So try to be as pure as possible. Soya beans can give you the same amount of protein as the non-vegetarian food. What is it, sir? Only a dead body of animals. It can't be tasty. Only your spices make them tasty, you know. The same thing can be had from the soya beans. When you add spices to them, it tastes like mutton and chicken.
Okay.
But unfortunately, soya bean has been genetically modified over the past few decades.
We have to be careful to buy organic foods. That's our duty, sir. See, there'll be always good and bad. For commercial purposes, they are doing it. Well, we have to be careful. We are only responsible for our own bodies. We are only responsible for our own lives. Cannot put the blame on others.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's very inspiring. And people who wanted to take a full course, we have a course called Siddha Culinary Medicine, where we are discussing how to prepare food, because people buy things like, oh, I wanted to buy some turmeric from India, but people don't know what process are there, in turmeric. If the turmeric particular process is not happening, it's not called turmeric. So these formulas were given by Siddha. Valalar has given amazing formulas, and many of them, how to cook, how to make some certain processes, and what is energy in food, like what is good energy, bad energy. All this been, like the ama, everything has been described by Valalar, and we are putting into a curriculum, and this is available for you to register for a course as Siddha Culinary Medicine. Dr. Selva Shanmugam, who is also a renowned Siddha doctor, he talks from other perspective like Tirumular and other sage scientists. And this is a whole sage scientist, we're going to bring all this component. And also I am part of this, bringing the modern, how you can use the ancient knowledge for modern applications. Like how do you make your kids eat something that is valuable and yet it is very attractive and modern. So we can, this is a full curriculum, and we are thinking of 12 modules, maybe a little more. So this is a course that's coming up next the first week of March. So it's a weekend course. So every weekend you spend 1 hour, 15 minutes. The knowledge that you get is vast. We will give you homeworks. Many things are covered in the question answers to make sure you prepare. We give you sources where to buy and things like that. Recommend you. We don't suggest. We suggest. This is we have done this for long because we know what we can get from where. And we also recommend and also cook with you. We make sure you get the ingredients before that, and together cook, and what kind of cutleries were used in ancient days, what is good for health or what is bad. So we all recommend those kind of things, how to find a material is good. So all these things will be described in the course. That's one course. And we are having an ancient agriculture course followed by that. So ancient agriculture, teaching you how to grow your own vegetable gardens at your home. You don't have much place. How do you still you can grow at a smaller scale very effectively using biodynamic formula? How do you do that with whatever you have, with your meditative power, with some chanting and many other technologies that were described in ancient? How do you really grow a very good food? Like I was talking about, food is not about how much you eat. It's about how much that food is converted into energy. So what kind of food you can grow very easily and have little quantity of that then eating more and more, and with that little quantity, how you can convert it into complete energy, right? So those techniques are also taught in that the course, which is coming on the last week of March. That's a course that's given by a world-renowned scientist. He is the the Bhutan is the only country which is completely organic, and he is one of the national advisor for the Bhutan government. So Dr. Thimmaya is giving, and we are also adding with that about ecology, ecological factors, and Revati, who is an independent indigenous traditional knowledge expert, who is also contributing to that course. So that's just a little bit more than what we think as just agriculture. We think only like what we buy from vegetable from somewhere, but there are so many factors in how we choose our food. So these things are covered in these two courses, and your support will really help us to bring this whole course concepts. And our idea is to bring this into a modern curriculum. People learn, it's enough. This is time that the Western civilization learn from the East. It's already Eastern civilization has learned a lot. That's what you leave, you're learning in the school systems, and that's done. It's time that other people learn from this, and you, the few who are listening to us right now, you have to support us, and so that we continuously bring these courses, and we form the university, which is unique and it's binding, bringing all traditions together, and we form a very new curriculum that is essential for life, not on things that are unwanted, for our life. You do lipstick research on lipstick, or heel, your shoes. These are all useless time. And so we are doing on the essence, and that is what is needed for this century. And we have experts, so many experts that are unexposed, like Dr. Kuppusamy. There are amazing experts in this culture that need to be recognized. And we need is your support for us to continuously, by taking courses. We are not even asking for donations or anything. That's up to you. But taking our courses will definitely help us a lot. Okay, thank you. Thank you all. And we'll see next week. Next week will be a course. Everybody, I recommend you. This is for a youngster from Ritisha, who published on Pranayama, Thirumandiram Pranayama. And she did a lot of research, and she's presenting that, and encourage all your kids to listen. So the last week of every month, a youngster will be speaking, so we want to promote this to our younger generation. So that's the idea. So that is, even though we put 16 below, and only that week, it's not. You can bring your little kid who can listen and be motivated by these people. They are going to publish, and we are going to get grants, and we are supporting all these kids. We already got small grants. We have supported kids, and we are trying to get more grants. So kids are involved in that. Youngsters, teenagers are involved, and teenagers give this, back to their family. And kids, little kids, we're going to bring some summer courses. So all these are going to happen with all levels. We need this change. It's not at one level. It's been affected in different ways through the colonization, and this need to change, and that's what we are doing. And I hope everybody can understand this and really support with your heart. So thank you, Dr. Kuppusamy, for this wonderful talk.
Thank you so much.
பெருஞ்சோதி தனிப்பெரும் கருணை அருட்பெருஞ்சோதி எல்லா உயிர்களும் முற்று வாழ் வள்ளல் மலரடி வாழ்க.
Thank you.